Governor Tim Walz is a deceitful, conniving human being, and the people of Minnesota deserve better. He knowingly allows the Somali takeover of Minneapolis and surrounding cities in Minnesota. He also knowingly allows this fraud to go on, whether we're talking about the Medicaid and autism scam, we're talking about the Feeding Our Future scam, and numerous other fraudulent activities that have been going on right under his nose for years, and he wants to pretend like he has no clue what's happening or that it's not even happening. He has yet to acknowledge everything that the DOJ has pulled up, that Kristi Noem has pulled up, that President Trump has pulled up, that investigative reporters have pulled up, independent journalists that have come up with and been able to prove these things are happening. And Tim Walz just, like nothing's going on. What's absolutely crazy to me is the fact that he is willingly putting foreign individuals ahead of American citizens. How is this okay, or how is this allowed? And if he's doing it, how many other places are going to do it? We already are worrying about, Zoran Mamdani in New York City, since he won the mayoral race, January 1st, 2026, all hell's going to break loose in New York City. You have him, you have the Somali takeover here, you have the Muslim Islam takeover in Texas that Governor Greg Abbott's trying to stop. But Greg Abbott's at least doing something to try to keep his state safe. Kathy Hochul in New York could give two shits, obviously. And Tim Walz in Minnesota gives even less shits than that, based off everything that's going on. Here, I want to just give you guys a little bit of information here, because I came across this article from March of this year, March 23rd, 2025 to be exact. And it says Minnesota politicians debate rolling back benefits for undocumented immigrants in the state. All right. In the 1990s, federal legislation was passed that allowed undocumented residents to pay federal income taxes. They did that on purpose so that more money would go into the economy, obviously, but then it gives undocumented workers, there's no reason for them to become documented, because then they're just going to take more money out of their paychecks and stuff like that. But listen, Minnesota, the state that's been at the forefront of passing laws to make life for the estimated 81,000 undocumented residents here easier. Those laws include driver's licenses for the undocumented, allowing the undocumented access to a new free state college plan, and allowing the undocumented to receive Minnesota Care healthcare benefits. But now Republicans are trying to push back, and Governor Tim Walz is having none of it, obviously. But there's a man here named Jordan Rasmussen. He's a Republican, and he says, I think Minnesota families expect that we're going to put their budgets first and not use their hard-earned tax dollars to subsidize illegal immigration. You would think, that's what we all thought during the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris reign, when they were letting in illegal immigrants like nobody's business. And we all thought, our government would at least put us first, put our needs and wants first, but that didn't happen. Minnesota, Tim Walz is no different than that. But here is some information that has come out. All right. I'm going to give you a little history lesson of Minnesota, if you will. There's the country in me coming out again. So in Minnesota, the 1990s, early 90s, all right, you had Somali resettlement beginning in Minnesota. Out of all the states, Minnesota was the one they picked, via Lutheran and Catholic nonprofit churches, okay, which are right now kind of embroiled in this whole massive fraud and scam situation that's going on in Minnesota. And it says immigration, funded partly by federal grants under the Clinton-Bush administration. All right. So you had a lot of people coming in then. Then between 2008, 2016, you had Obama allowing refugees in, and then he kind of accelerated the Somali influx. In the 2015, 2016 was the peak, where he brought in a ton of Somali refugees. That's where we're going to go with. And Minnesota became a resettlement hub due to cold weather, jobs in meat packing, and church networks. All right. Please remember that, because that is extremely important for what we're going to get into next, that a lot of people are not tying together. Okay. So then between 2016 and 2020, that's when the Feeding Our Future scandal was kind of like a precursor. And then the whole George Floyd thing happened, riots in Minneapolis, which Minneapolis seems to be the center of the burning of Minnesota. Right. And then now, 2021 to 2025, you have $250 million plus in convictions in the Feeding Our Future whole scam, fraudulent activity, right? Ties to Al-Shabaab, and then the Chinese police station that they came across in St. Paul in 2023. The Department of Justice raided that. These are things that are under Tim Walz's nose and he pretends have not happened, especially the Chinese police station in St. Paul. You guys remember, we talked about this during the election process, how often Tim Walz was traveling to China while he was a teacher. On a teacher's salary, mind you, he was traveling to China numerous times a year. He said it was to teach the Chinese something, but it also came to light that during that same time frame, there was a lot of uncertainty about his activities with students in his care, especially the male students and especially the underage male students. There have been files that have been wiped. There have been files that have been sealed. There's been people that have come out to try to talk about the fact that, Tim Walz maybe was inappropriate with them. What was the concert? An Indigo Girls concert we talked about during the election process between him and his wife and an underage student that went to an Indigo Girls concert. I'm just saying, it's very interesting. But once again, it is 2025. We are on the cusp of 2026, and Governor Tim Walz is still trying to pretend like he has no idea what is going on. Now, remember when I said that they were bringing in Somalis due to cold weather and jobs in meatpacking and church networks? Is Somalia freezing cold? Is that how this works? Is that why they needed cold weather? I'm very curious on that. I didn't bother to look up the weather in Somalia, but I didn't really think that it was cold. I could be wrong. But why is the jobs in meatpacking and church networks one of the driving factors on why they were brought to Minnesota? Very interesting to me that we have so many immigrants, illegal ones at that have had their hands in our food supply. The reason I bring this to your attention right now is because of this video that I came across on X, and it is by a man who said he worked in the food production plants in Minnesota. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of this. So this man says he works in the food processing plants in Minnesota, and they brought in Somalians who defecated and urinated everywhere. Says this food is being distributed all over the United States and Canada. Here's a list of all the major food processing plants in Minnesota, which includes General Mills, Land O'Lakes, Schwann's, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, Kemp's Dairy, and Pilgrim's Pride. You have Jennie-O Turkey. You've got Hormel Foods, Quality Pork Processors. You have Faribault Foods Canning. You have Cargill Turkey and Cooked Meats Plant. You have the General Mills Frozen Waffle, the cereals, the main manufacturing. You have Pepsi Beverage Bottling Plant, a Ray's Coca-Cola Bottling Plant. And I just want you to hear a little bit of what this man has to say in regards to what he has seen. Make sure I don't have any extra things up here. Y'all know how I like to accidentally hit play and have 75 different tabs open. All right, I want you to hear a little bit of what he has to say, and then we're gonna continue on.
I've seen that my former home state of Minnesota is currently in the news due to Trump and the Somali issue. I worked at a major food production facility that supplies the United States and Canada with food. I watched as they brought Somalians in, and they began to urinate and defecate wherever they please within this food production facility plant.
Now, the reason I bring that part to your attention is there was a video that I saw on, I don't remember if it was Instagram, X, TikTok. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. But I saw a video. This guy recorded a Somali refugee or, citizen, because that's how Tim Walz will refer to them as, who was pulling his pants down and backing up to a tree in a park to take a shit in the middle of the grass, because I guess that's what they do in Somalia. Do you guys remember during the presidential election, there was the whole President Trump's, they're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats, because in certain countries, things like this are allowed. I don't remember if that was Haiti or Somalia, but honestly, and I'm going to sound some type of way when I say it, it's the same thing. They have third world practices that they then bring here because they're not coming here to acclimate or assimilate to the United States of America, to Western culture. They're bringing their thoughts, beliefs, religions here and expecting us to just turn a blind eye to the disgusting and illegal things that they do here just because they were able to do it back in their country. And it's like, if you want to do those things, you should have stayed in your country. You are here in the United States of America now. That is not okay. You do not just pull down your pants and shit wherever you please. You do not just pull out your junk and pee wherever you please. You do not do the things that you've been doing. You don't come in here to steal taxpayer money. You don't come in here to steal jobs from people. You don't come in here to live off our government. It's not okay, because by living off our government, you're living off my taxpayer money, your taxpayer money, and it is not okay. So this guy is talking about all these different places where they are working. What I found very interesting was that right now we actually have a recall, like a huge recall on some cheese. And you may be like, Michelle, what the crap does cheese have to do with anything? But there's a massive shredded cheese recall, okay? And it's being sold at Walmart, Publix, other grocery stores because of metal fragments. Now listen, it says here, more than 1 million bags of shredded cheese sold at major retailers, including Walmart, Publix, and Aldi, have been recalled because the products may contain metal fragments. This is according to the FDA. And they said that on December 1st, the FDA said the shredded cheese was manufactured by Ohio-based Great Lakes Cheese Co. and was sold in 31 states and Puerto Rico. And I was like, oh, Ohio. Hold on now. I remember hearing something about Ohio. And what I remember hearing about Ohio was that Ohio, particularly the Columbus area, has a significant Somali population, with some estimates placing it as the second largest in the United States. Right behind Minneapolis, Minnesota, ladies and gentlemen. And it happens to be a food processing area. Just like the man in the video was talking about the food processing plants in Minnesota that the Somalis are working at. So they are in all of these food processing plants. What have we noticed over the last 4 years specifically? A massive uptick in food recalls, in whether it's listeria, it's metal fragments, it's who the hell knows what. So many of our foods have been recalled, and you're thinking to yourself, why has there been such an uptick in this? Is it because they're manufacturing more and there's obviously going to be some sort of issue? Well, no, maybe it's because we are continuing to let illegal immigrants come into this country and putting them to work in our food processing plants. Do you guys remember we talked about this? Oh man, it's been a minute, but we talked about how Tyson was getting kickbacks for hiring illegal immigrants. There's like tax breaks for them for hiring illegal immigrants. And so regular, American citizens were being canned from their jobs, and these jobs were being given to illegal immigrants. There's been numerous stories that have come out on mainstream media, even, because even they had to talk about it, of underage illegal children working in meat packing plants and being caught there at 3 and 4 in the morning, cleaning floors and messing with, heavy machinery and stuff like that. Why is this what we're doing? That is just my question. Why is this what we're doing? But when I saw the recalls from both different states, and I realized both of them happen to have a very large Somali presence that are working in these areas, it's like, okay, well, that makes sense because, and again, gonna sound some type of way, zero fucks given about it though. When you come from a nation that is built on dirt and you come here with that same mindset, I don't expect people to live by the same cleanly standards or sanitary standards that we live by, that we expect. These are the same people, once again, who are willing to drop trouser in the middle of a road and take a crap, and then sometimes turn around and forehead to ground and pray right behind it. But, whatever. But these are things that are very important that nobody ever really talks about. But then, Tim Walz, we need to get back to the governor, because I sent myself an email and I titled it, "Buckle Up, Buttercup, Tim Walz is about to rob you blind." That way I would remember exactly what this whole thing is about. Do you guys remember how yesterday we talked about how he is going to give Minnesotans 20 weeks of paid leave, whatever you want to call it, paid vacation, paid sick time, paid just don't want to go to work time, 20 weeks of it. And I'm thinking to myself, how is this feasible? Is the company paying this? Are the people paying this? Is this coming out of something else? I know Trump didn't approve this. This isn't a federal thing. So what is actually happening here? And I talked about how it was a horrible idea and it's going to get used and abused. And they're already $8 billion in the hole somehow. We know how. It's called fraudulent activity in the Somali community between Ilhan Omar and her people and everything else. But I'm like, how is this actually going to work? So I did a little digging, if you will, to kind of see what was going on, because a lot of people in the comments yesterday were like, oh, it's an FMLA, Family Medical Leave Act, right? So I did some research. Tim Walz is not proposing, please understand this, not proposing a new Family and Medical Leave Act, which is the FMLA from Minnesota. Instead, like I said yesterday, he signed into law in May of 2023. All right, he signed this into law May of 2023, the Minnesota Paid Family and Medical Leave Program, which is also known as the Paid Leave Law, which is what I called it yesterday, which expands on federal FMLA by adding paid benefits. FMLA is not paid. It's an unpaid benefit. But the way he is doing it, Minnesota is doing it, Tim Walz is doing it, makes it paid. And in your mind, you go, well, I mean, I guess that sounds good. You get paid when you have to take time off, except for the fact that there are so many ways for this to get defrauded. It's absolutely ridiculous. The state program will take effect January 2026 for benefit eligibility, and the enrollment's already started, okay, 2025. Here's the key details that a lot of people need to know, especially if you live in Minnesota and other states, because other states have tried to adopt this and failed miserably and are planning to adopt this at the same time and will fail miserably. So listen, it covers up to 12 weeks of paid leave per year for bonding with a new child, caring for a seriously ill family member, or handling military exigencies, plus up to 12 weeks for the employee's own serious health condition, capped at 20 weeks total if combining categories. Wages are replaced at up to 90%, okay? But this is where the difference is from federal FMLA. The federal FMLA, which was started in 1993, provides up to 12 weeks of unpaid, job-protected leave for similar reasons, but no wage replacement. Minnesota's program builds on this by making it paid and state-administered, while still coordinating with federal protections, okay? Now, December, this month, 2025, Walz announced enrollment details for the program, emphasizing access for all workers, including undocumented ones, as eligibility is tied to work authorization rather than citizenship. And then amendments that were signed in May of 2024 refined funding and appeals process, but no new proposal has emerged. This would be the 12th state, and including DC, with a paid family leave program aimed at addressing gaps in federal law, but this will be the one with the longest time period of time, okay? But this is what's crazy. As of December 2025, 13 states have enacted paid family and medical leave, which is PFML, totaling 14 jurisdictions. They're not fully operational yet, though. Minnesota, Delaware, and Maine they're all set to begin in 2026, with contributions starting now in 2025, meaning your money is already going into it now. The other 11 operational programs vary. Most cap the 12 weeks, and then there's some that are up to 24. And then it says none match Minnesota's exact 20-week combined structure, but California, Rhode Island, and New Jersey and New York provide the lengthiest options overall, up to 52 weeks in California for non-work-related disabilities. Now, here's where it gets a little bit crazy to me, all right? I don't know if you're ready for this. I'm going to tell you now. Let's see. I'm going to make sure I get all my notes here. Shorter, similar upcoming programs. No. You do not get, okay. So this is what I asked, because in order for this to get funded, it comes out of your paycheck. All right. It comes out of your paycheck. But my questions were, okay, well, if I'm paying into this, but I don't take 20 weeks off, do I get my damn money back? And the answer is no, because it goes into a pot for the people who want to take 20 weeks off. They get to take your money for it, okay? This is absolutely crazy to me, all right? So according to this, you do not get your payroll contributions back if you don't take any PFML leave. These contributions are premiums that fund the state's insurance-like pool, which pays out benefits to eligible claimants across Minnesota. They function like mandatory insurance payments. Mandatory insurance payments, similar to Social Security or unemployment taxes, non-refundable, and pooled for collective use regardless of individual claims. So for 2026, it's talking about the total premiums being up to 0.88% of taxable wages, which is up to $185,000 annually. They're saying employers pay half, but can require employees to contribute up to the other half via payroll deductions, which is probably what's going to happen. And like I said yesterday, if employers have to do this, they are going to stop employing people if they're going to continuously have to keep paying out for stupid shit like this, okay? And the reason I call it stupid is because it will get defrauded somehow. I think that's the right word, defrauded somehow. Listen, here you go. Deductions start January 1st. Employers remit quarterly payments to the Minnesota Department of Employee and Economic Development by April 30th, July 31st, October 31st, and January 31st, which covers the prior whatever. But you do not get any money back. If you take no time off, it is still coming out of your paycheck to pay for everybody else. It will be mandatory. It's not like you can go, no, I don't plan on taking time off. I'm not doing anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and opt out of this. It is non-opt-outable. You will have more money taken out of your account. And illegal, undocumented immigrants can then use more of your taxpayer money to fuck around and do whatever it is that they do. And you have nothing that you can do about it. Personally, I think that's an absolutely horrific idea, especially when I watch this video. I watched this video from Tim Walz himself. Let me find the right one because there's so many going around here. I think it's this one. I have this video from Tim Walz where he is talking about how he's super pissed off that people think that Minnesotans are going to defraud it or do whatever. So I want you to hear what he had to say so that you understand exactly what I'm talking about. If I can get
people going to abuse the program?
Listen. I dislike this man. I loathe this man. I'm sure most of you do. Listen.
Aren't people going to abuse the program? How disrespectful to people to assume that all Minnesotans are scamming. That's what I hear from them all the time. I trust Minnesotans. I believe in Minnesotans. I believe they know. You're not going to get rich, and it's not your full salary. You're not going to scam and take time.
Listen, first off, he's talking about he doesn't think the Minnesotans will scam it. Neither do I. I think your Somali refugees and illegal immigrants are going to find a way to do it since you've just said that this will cover them. Hello. And then he goes, it's not like you're going to get rich with it, which means he even knows that people will try to get free money from it. You're going to get 20 weeks worth of free fucking money from everybody else's taxpayer dollars. Like, how is this? And it's not even like, y'all. Maybe I'm looking at this wrong, but I don't think so, especially because it's Minnesota. If it was a different state, maybe I would have a more positive outlook on this. But because it is Tim Walz, because it is Minnesota, because he has allowed the absolute worst fraudulent shit to go down in a state that I have seen in a very long time, I don't trust this. I don't trust that he's now implementing this. Like, they passed it in 2023, but now they want to implement it. Was it because the other stuff is running out? You know, the feeding our future money is all gone, or the autism Medicaid money is all gone. So now they need a new scam to try to make some more money with. Like, how is this going to work? And then who's to say once it goes into that department that department is going to use it accordingly or correctly, that they're not going to defraud it? Because how many Somalis does he have working or heading up that department? These are legit questions to ask. And I know I might be the one who sounds batshit right now, but it's a legit question because of everything that we have seen going on. So then get this, Elon Musk reposted this. An NGO headquartered in Minnesota is getting paid $2,375 for every Somalia immigrant they bring into the United States. Remember when I said that in the beginning that the Somali refugees were being brought over by the Lutheran and Catholic churches? Okay. This says, why are Somalians in America? I looked into it. The main group bringing in Somalians is Lutheran Social Services. It turns out they get $2,375 for every Somalian they bring over. We have to ask the question, why are they coming over here in the first place? Which we already know, it's to take over from within. Hello. And then another surprise, turns out our government was funding a dictatorship in Somalia. This is where the movie Black Hawk Down comes from. Have you guys ever seen that movie? Very good movie. You should take a gander at it. But overall, Somalians have no right to be in America, especially North Dakota and Minnesota, and let's not forget Ohio. They don't integrate into our societies. They carry over their clan mentalities. If you personally have never interacted with Somalian or just don't believe that this is what it's like, I would recommend checking out, there's a Nick Shirley video that was done the other day. You guys can check out where he walked around, interviewed, and talked to people, tried to get in, and you can see it is not a good look. Now, the money that this Lutheran social services thing is getting, it's a one-time reception and placement grant of $2,425 per refugee, which it used to be $2,375, but inflation, right? Paid by the State Department to cover immediate arrival costs. Think about airfare reimbursement, first month rent, furniture, airport pickup. Okay, so these Somali refugees are getting taken care of better than the veterans that are living on the streets in Minnesota, than the women who have been part of a domestic violence situation, than people with mental disabilities that might need help, people with physical disabilities that might need help, people on SNAP that might need help, like, you know, the citizens who need help. These people instead are getting first month's rent, furniture, and airport pickup and airfare reimbursed to them. Okay. Now, it's not supposed to be profit for the NGO, but you already know with all the fraud that's going on in Minnesota that most of that money is getting directly pocketed. There's no way it's not. Let's say an airfare is $500. First month rent, you're cramming 15 people into one 3-bedroom apartment and expecting them to sleep, you know, butt to feet to face to whatever. And then furniture, you hit up Goodwill, you can get a couch for $50, $100. And then airport pickup. You take a bus, you pick them all up at one time. How expensive is that? So you know they are making some money. In Minnesota, federal funds totaled $4 million for 10,000 refugees in 2018. That's crazy to me. Federal funding, 2018. I wonder if President Trump at the time knew that that was happening, that that money was going out like that. Just out of curiosity, because the first time around, he wasn't really a politician. He was more of a businessman. Now that he is understanding the difference between businessman and politician, he is trying to right the wrongs of every administration before him and make it so the administrations after him can't fuck it up like other administrations have done, right? Now, Lutheran Social Services is one of 10 national voluntary agencies contracted by the U.S. State Department to handle logistics for refugees, which is absolutely crazy that this much money, again, is being given to illegal immigrants to bring people into our country. This is where I have a hard time understanding why we spend so much money to bring people in when we have people here who need the help, who, if they had a little help, maybe they would be the next person that could possibly cure cancer. Although we know they won't let that happen. There's more money in keeping you sick than curing you. But somebody out there could be benefiting from all this money that our government is giving to foreigners. You want people to work in the meat packing, processing, all that stuff, plants, pay a little better, give them better health insurance, ironically, better hours, something like that. Instead, you go to another country to bring people in and then wonder why we have a high unemployment rate amongst citizens. It's because you're bussing in people that don't live here to do the jobs. But anyway, yeah. Then on top of that, because unfortunately, wait, there's more. Let's see, where is this one? That's the shredded cheese. That's the Ohio. Okay, no, we've already done that one. Okay, so then you have, right now, you have Ilhan Omar still running her mouth, doing interviews, talking about how, you know, President Trump is obsessed with her, talking about how there's nothing wrong and everything else. This I saw earlier. Minnesotans form a wall of protection for these Somalians who wanted to stop and pray. This is at the airport. They just stopped in the middle of the road at the airport to pray. You want to tell me this is not a setup? Why were there so many people around with protest signs just waiting to, you know, form a little circle around people so they could put forehead to ground in peace and silence or whatever else? But why are these things done in such public places, in the middle of the road? I personally, if I want to stop and pray, I'm not going to just stop in the middle of a road, get out of my car, stand there and do it. It's not how this works. But this, they're trying to condition us that this is normal, that them taking up space in the middle of a road or in the middle of a college campus, in the middle of a library, in the middle of a restaurant is normal, and it's not. But if they keep trying to put it to us like this, and they keep trying to convince us that these Minnesotans are protecting them, then people are gonna be like, oh, well, I guess it's okay. One, prove these people surrounding them are Minnesotans and not other Somalians. Prove they're not paid actors that were bussed in from somewhere or just given money to stand around in a circle and have no effing clue why they're even standing there, because we've seen that happen, the DNC and things like that. Also, ironically, with Tim Walz signing into, you know, all this paid family leave or paid maternity leave, medical leave, isn't he the same one that he and Kamala Harris brought the abortion bans to the DNC so people could get abortions? And, you know, they were pushing it, and Tim Walz was all about everybody should be able to go out and get an abortion. Well, if people aren't having babies, why do they need paid maternity leave? But anyway, I digress. So you have that. But then this killed me. This is Tim Walz right now. I want you to hear what he has to say. You ready? Poor little thing. Just listen.
True. This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So
does he realize he's talking about the left? They start with taunts and move to violence. That is literally the left. That is the MO for the left. And here he is trying to say that it's the Republicans. Look at his just angry little man face. His little angry man face. It kills me. I'm like, bro, what, are you on your period? What is happening here? But he doesn't like the fact that people are calling him retarded. Well, don't act like it and they won't call you it. That's how it works. But he calls ICE the Gestapo. He calls Trump a Nazi, a Hitler, and white supremacists. He talks about them and say they incite violence. But here he is mad because somebody called him a word that hurt his feelings. Maybe if you grew up hair, nobody would call you that. So, just a thought there. And last but not least, Ilhan Omar promoting the Safari restaurant in Minneapolis for feeding kids. And in case you're curious what the Safari restaurant in Minneapolis is, it's the restaurant that was caught basically in the $250 million fraud scheme. They're the ones who donated to her campaign. So wait, stop. Listen, this is her. Oh, good luck listening to this. Because heaven forbid we use English.
ciyaalkeena yaryar ilaa iyo number la eg 20 milyan oo ciyaal iskooley waxay cuntadooda ka helaan iskoolka kaliyo marka waxaan fursad u helnay in aan sharci soo gudbin.
I am so tired of listening to her speak in whatever the hell that is. And again, I know it sounds some type of way, but it makes me want to be like, cough, clear your throat, blow your nose. I don't know what's happening there, but it sounds painful. Okay, number one. But also, why are you not speaking in English? You're in the United States of America. I think she forgets every once in a while. But she's thanking them for making this food every day, which, I mean, they made some stuff, but they put $250 million worth of it in their pockets. And then they donated to her campaign. And I feel like she should have to pay every single penny of that back. Kind of like Zohran Mamdani, who had his money donated to him from CAIR, C-A-I-R, the Islamic group. And then also the Muslim Brotherhood. Yeah. So it's just, there's so much going on right now. It's absolutely ridiculous. Side note, George Clooney, the actor, his wife actually wrote the constitution for the Egyptian chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood. And he was like super excited about it and told everybody about it on some talk show today. And I'm like, these are things you should probably keep to yourself. Not everybody needs to know that, because then they're going to look at your wife like, oh, then you're going to look at you, George Clooney, like, oh, and then it makes perfect sense why he is the way he is and why he's so far up Obama's ass. Anyway, second skin in it. Okay. That's all. Listen, unfortunately, there will be more tomorrow. And I mean it like that. Unfortunately, there'll be more tomorrow because Tim Walz is still governor. Ilhan Omar still has her position, and they are still both fucking morons. So, y'all, that's all. I love y'all. I love y'all immensely. They give me a headache. I need some water and some woosah. Besides that, I hope you all have had a fabulous day. I'll see you tomorrow. Love you all. Goodbye.